Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. I'm so excited to have you here for the 49th session. Tomorrow, we are hitting the half century. And as we get closer to that milestone, that achievement, I want to thank every single one of you here because finally on YouTube, we are a family of more than 1,000 people. Yesterday, we hit that milestone, and I hold so much gratitude, so much love and so much thankfulness for every single one of you who shows up here, who learns, who grows, and above all, who are serious about creating the best life of their dreams. I mean, it's such a blessing to see this in this time, in this generation, because we often hear so much about people saying the world is hopeless. There's nothing that's going to work out. People just don't want to change. And yet, right here, we have proof that we have more than 1,000 people now who are ready to change, who are willing to change, who have shown up here just because they want to create and live that dream life of theirs. And that's why today I want to talk to you about the principle that leads to the creation of your dream life, because there are two things that we can do, two lenses that we can use to approach creating any kind of success in our lives, be it in your health, your career, your relationships, your finances. Doesn't matter which area it is. This is the principle that lasts. This is the principle that creates the transformation that you want. And the power that this holds is so incredible and so amazing that I am the testimony of what it means to stick to it, of what it means to just follow one idea, one simple thinking, one simple process, and then to just run with it. And the moment you run with it seems unglamorous, it seems boring, it seems like, what's this even going to do? But as that compounds over consistently, the results that you get are just massive and they are incredible. And that is why the first idea I want you to understand is this: success does not come from massive big leaps of faith. Yes, movies have dramatized that. Yes, in the stories of the heroes you're familiar with, that's the aspect which gets the most attention from the audience, from the creators, from everywhere. Because as humans, we love stories. As humans, we love drama. We love big moments of change, big epiphanies, and so much more. But the truth is, life is not that. Life is often beyond the drama. Life is often lived in the moments that the movies don't capture at all. Because a movie is like, let's say, a 3 hour snippet into someone's 30 years journey, if it's a biopic or if it's about someone successful, right? In those 3 hours, will they share the boring details or will they share the highlight reel, the perfect growth, the perfect plan, the challenges that felt so hard and dramatize them and create that effect so that by the time the story ends, you are in tears, you are moved, you feel like, oh my God, this is the best thing that I saw. This movie has really changed the way I look at my life. But then it doesn't really last a lot of the times, right? You're not able to implement any of that because the movie conveniently ignores the hard part. The movie conveniently ignores the struggle. The movie conveniently ignores that aspect where building success is not glamorous. It's the most boring thing you could do. And yet, day after day, you are still showing up. This is the principle that makes the top 1% the top 1%. They are willing to do the boring work. They are willing to do the grunt work. They are willing to live that unglamorous life so that they can be prepared and they can be ready for any of the future that they want. Now, if you look at my journey, the reason I'm taking this example is because we've just hit the major milestone of having 1,000 subscribers here, having 1,000 of you learning with me every single day. But I want to show you the side of it that actually builds this consistency, that builds this growth. It started for me back when I was 12 years old in July 2019 with a simple blog post. If some of you have seen my videos, you know this part of my journey, you know this part of my story. It started with a simple idea: how do I help people think a bit better? How do I help people understand that their lives can actually be in their control? Because by then I'd become obsessed with reading self help, with understanding the way the human mind works. That curiosity had taken a deep root in myself, in my spirit, in the way I approach things. So on that day, on July 14th, 2019, I started the journey with a simple blog post. I still remember 752 words was where that journey started from. And that's where the convergence happened of my work as a writer and of my work now as a coach, speaker, trainer, and someone who leads in the personal development field and helps people create transformation. What I fell in love with first was the art of writing, so I went all in on that. I went deeper on that. I kept learning, but I focused more on mastering the art of writing. And that was in a pre AI world. So I didn't have Chat GPT to help me back then. It was just me, my laptop, and the words inside my head that had these conversations where we created worlds together. I remember writing an 80,000 word fiction story during the lockdown. It's never published yet. I don't think if I'll ever publish it as well, but it's just there as proof that I was out there doing the unglamorous work, showing up every day, writing 1,000 to 2,000 words. Now, when I tell people this part of my story, right, again, it sounds more like a highlight reel. It sounds crazy that you started with a blog, then 1 year later, you wrote an entire book in 50 days. That's Explore the New Year, my first book. Till date, I've written more than 17 million words. I've worked as a ghostwriter. I've worked as an agency owner. I've worked as a copywriter. I've done so many different things in the world of writing. And I've had experience across the board working from projects from fiction to non-fiction to biographies to so much more. So it's a wide array of experience that I have. And when I tell the statistics, they are impressive. They're like, oh my god. But can I tell you how those statistics were built? Simple, daily, unglamorous work. The work was simple. It's like right now I have two books here on my table, so that's why I'm just picking them up right now to show you as an example. So, for example, these two I picked up off my shelf recently. Here's what my work looked like. Whole day I'd either do the schoolwork that I had or some other thing that I had to do. Then I would spend at least a few hours reading, being in the company of great writers, learning from them, understanding from them. Now, did I know that something I read that many years ago would help me today? Maybe, maybe not. I had no idea. I was just going at it because that was the process. That was the work. I needed exposure to the way great writers wrote, and that's what I chose. That's the thing I went behind when I started reading with intention. And along with that, I showed up every day to write 1,000 words. I just didn't skip that. I was like, when I was writing that fiction story, I still remember, come what may, either in the morning, either in the evening, either in the afternoon, whenever I had some time, I would pick up my laptop or my tablet and I would start typing away in that Google document, writing that story. Before I knew it, in less than 90 days, the draft had crossed 80,000 words because I was writing every single day. I may have missed a day or two, but never 2 or 3 days in a row because I showed up. I decided to come right back. I loved doing the work of writing. And that's what gave me the confidence to be the articulate person that I am today. For all it takes for me to write a 1,200 to 1,500 word newsletter article or anything for that matter is barely 30 minutes. Add 5-10 minutes for editing after that. I do not need an outline. I do not need a structure. I do not need to plan it out in a much more depth format beforehand, then fill in the gaps. It's just inbuilt now because of more than 6 years of practice. Just like that, if you see me as a confident speaker today, if you see me as someone who's showing up, who's creating transformation, who's leading the change in people's lives with something they struggled with for many years and decades, even changes in a few hours, that's the transformation we unlock in my one-to-one coaching. Now, the reason that has happened is not because I started just going out there and making it all happen. It started under my mentors. It started under every single day of learning from the great minds on the bookshelf you see behind me, where I understood mental models, where I understood the ways of thinking that work, where I understood why human behavior is the way it is and what we can do to change it in a way that empowers us rather than limiting us and sabotaging us. And that synthesis of knowledge combined with communication skills, presence, empathy, listening, and so much more that I come with is what allows me to be effective as a speaker, as a coach, as a creator, as an entrepreneur, as a leader. It's not a coincidence. It's not a blessing. It's not something I've inherited from my past life, which a lot of people assume considering my age. But no, it's the result of work, it's the result of focused action. And when I tell you all of this, again, it seems like too many things to do, right? But it's not. It's the tiny steps done consistently every day. All I was doing was learning for a few hours every day. All I was doing was talking to at least one person every single day to see how I could help them, to see how I could change their life. Before I knew it, the ball had started rolling, and now I'm living the life I've always dreamed of. I'm living a life where every single day I get to wake up to the joy of having my own routine, of having my own freedom as a business owner, of having my own consistency, of having the kind of clients I would have dreamed about just 2 years ago, the people that I'm working with, the transformation that I'm creating in their life. Now, all of this magic and success and remarkable results are great. They happened because for the last 6 years, I've been taking those tiny steps. In fact, let's take this YouTube thing as well, right? For the longest time, I was stuck at a certain number. I think it was around 650. I was inconsistent as well. So half the blame's on me too. I accept that. But when do you think this really started to pick up the graph? When did more people start joining us here on the channel? After I started these live sessions back in Feb. We're on session number 49 today. It's not that hard of a thing, but I've shown up consistently every single day. Even when I've been sick, I've done the live. Even when I've not felt in the best state of mind, I've changed that. I've taken control of it, and I've shown up for the live with the perfect intentions, perfect energy, perfect clarity that you see. The reason this is because the reason this happened is because I was clear in my intention. That's the first thing. Second thing, it was a simple action, right? Just get ready, set up the camera, and show up here and talk heart to heart for 15 minutes every day. Not that big of a deal, but done consistently. If you go back to the channel now, we've covered so many topics under the live section. We have more than 49 videos. Today is the 49th one, as I told you. Tomorrow will be the 50th. More than 50 sessions of transformation, of impact, of clarity, of value based thinking, and so many more things that we've covered over the last month and two. Now, this consistency, this impact, this showing up is the reason my channel also started to pick up. I started to grow, and I have all of you amazing human beings here, all of you amazing dreamers and achievers who are learning, growing, and succeeding every single day. So, my question today for you is simple. The big goals that you have, right? They're all possible. I'm living mine right now. I'm living them with so much joy and happiness. I cannot tell you. I mean, my face is probably telling that to you right now because of the immense gratitude I feel to get to do this work every day. But for your goals, the mistake that happens is you look at the big achievement, you look at the big action, you look at the massive announcement that you're going to make to the world that, see, this is who I am and this is what I've done. No, you don't need that. What you need is tiny, consistent actions done every day so you can build your competence. And as a result of your competence growing, you get to build your confidence. You get to build your certainty. You get to build your ability to take the right actions. The reason I'm able to coach people almost double my age is because of the depth I have built through these consistent actions every day. The reason I'm able to show up here every single day and just talk for 15 minutes without a script, without structuring it, without trying to make it perfect, and just being real is because I've put in the work to understand how to be articulate, to understand how to communicate with confidence and presence and composure. It's all a learned skill. And that's why when people see me, they see my achievements, they say, "Oh, you must be special." I'm not special. I'm as unique and as powerful and as equal as every single one of you. All I've done is I've imbibed this first basic principle of tiny actions leading to remarkable results, and I've just run with it for the last 6 to 7 years of my life. When I started when I was 12 years old. Since then, the journey started, the ball has been rolling, and that's what's brought me here. In your goals, give yourself some time, give yourself some patience, become this person first, become the one who shows up, become the one who takes the lead, become the one people can rely on, People can feel like, oh yeah, if we want to get something done, this is the guy, this is the woman, this is the person who's gonna ensure that we get what we want. If you can offer that level of service, that level of commitment, that level of clarity, nobody can stop you from succeeding, whether it's in your job, in your business, in your relationships, in your health, in your promises to yourself, every single area. But that confidence comes when you start with tiny actions and tiny steps that feel lack purpose in the moment. That's how I would phrase it. They feel like, what's this even going to lead to? How is this going to help me? But stick with it, and you will realize just 1 year down the line that, oh my god, the tiny actions changed everything. So the reflection I want you to do today is to just ask yourself, what are the tiny actions I'm taking or not taking which I should improve on? What is aligning with my goal, what is not aligning with my goal? Just sit with that, look at what you're doing, see where your daily actions are leading, and never ever underestimate the power that compounding holds. Is the same thing with money, it's the same thing with the investment of time. Invest it in the right places, even if it's just tiny chunks every day, but your life will turn out to be your dream life faster than you can imagine. So start taking action, start creating the impact, and I'll see you once again tomorrow for the 50th session. Oh my god, I'm so excited for it. We are doing the half century. See you tomorrow at the exact same time, that is 8:30 p.m. IST. Bye, and thank you so much once again from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this journey, for being a believer in your transformation. I'm so glad you've made that choice. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon once again tomorrow. Bye.